Hey everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to continue working through the NPCs of Stardew Valley. Last week we looked at Kent and his PTSD, and to be honest, I was really surprised that so many votes came in for our only war veteran. Today though, we're going to examine another character who has seen some suffering and hardship. I mean, that could be just about anyone in the valley when I think about it, but more specifically, we're going to talk about one of the alcoholics in the valley. Even more specifically, this one lives in a trailer. Unfortunately for Pam, she doesn't have the support system to keep it all from collapsing on top of her, and since she's not a marriage candidate, her very ability to overcome her struggles is somewhat stunted by the fact that she has fewer heart scenes. But the few that do involve her tell a really important story. Today is obviously going to be about Pam, and by her very nature, that means we're going to be talking about substance abuse and addiction. Likely there will be some things that people find uncomfortable in this video. I say this a lot, but I'm not an expert, a doctor, psychologist, or therapist of any kind. That said, I have an unfortunate amount of experience with substance abuse in my immediate and extended family and friendships, so while I present my theories in broad strokes, they may not be the same for everyone out there. These are mostly based on my experiences and a touch of research. If you disagree, well, that's fair. Let me know down in the comments and you can help others understand from a different perspective. I also do want to say really quick, if you didn't notice already from the thumbnail and the title of the video, we're going to be talking about drunk driving here today. If that's something that is a trigger for you, I really recommend you stop right here and maybe just wait for the next video. Finally, let me say that there is hope and there are people out there that can help. Don't let pride or shame keep you from seeking help to better your life. With all that fun disclaimer stuff out of the way, let's get depressed. Pam lives in a trailer with Penny. We're going to spend a lot of time on Pam today and just a tiny bit on Penny, but I want to start by saying at least one kind thing about Pam. There is only one bedroom in their home, and Pam gives it to Penny. In fact, somewhere between a third and half of their trailer is dedicated to Penny. Now, Penny is the marriage candidate, not Pam, so that's probably a mechanical decision more than a character trait, but if we consider that Pam gave up her bedroom to try to give her daughter some privacy and a place of her own, that's one mark in Pam's favor. Instead of sleeping in the only bed in the trailer, Pam stays in the saloon until midnight before dragging herself home and collapsing on the couch. Pam actually only ever deviates from this schedule for two reasons. On Spring 25, she visits Harvey's clinic, and she will rarely go to the resort on Ginger Island when you've completed it. Even after the bus has been restored to service and Pam is gainfully employed again, she still spends her evenings at the saloon. One of my favorite lines on the wiki page for Pam says that she spends every evening socializing at the Stardrop Saloon. Which is half true. She does spend her evenings there, but the only socializing she does is calling for more beer. Sure, sometimes she'll say she'd buy you a beer, but she's normally parked at the end of the bar. Occasionally, she's not even capable of responding when you speak to her. I don't want to talk about Gus today, but that probably is a sign, dude. Okay, so Pam knows what she wants, and she's capable of getting her job done even after a night of heavy drinking. Or even if she has a hangover, which she often does. She says frequently that she's had one too many caramel porters the previous night. Those of you in the know might see here the signs of a functioning alcoholic. These people will say that their drinking doesn't affect their work, relationships, or productivity, so there's no reason for them to stop. They're capable of performing all their duties, and it's not like they get blasted every night. It's just easier sometimes to have something to take the edge off. Many adults will have a drink after a stressful day, they'll tell you. The truth is, though, extended drinking can and will catch up to you. Pam might not recognize it at first, but we do see her talk about it briefly during a heart event. There are a couple requirements for the scene to trigger, so it might be something you actually haven't seen before. Once you've completed the Community Center or the Joja Community Development Form, you can purchase the Community Upgrade from Robin's shop. This will cost you a cool $500,000 and nearly 1,000 wood. 3 days after you purchase it though, Rob the Builder will have completed a new house for Pam, as well as Penny, if she's not already living on the farm after marrying you. If you have 9 hearts with Pam, you can enter her new home at least 4 days after to trigger a new heart event. In it, Pam confesses that she's not really been able to cut back on her drinking. She thought that a new house would mean a new Pam, but that's not really how addiction works. Instead, she turns toward religion and spirituality in the form of praying to Yoba for help. There's a lot of discourse around whether some of the most popular recovery groups have a religious foundation to them. For some, the idea of putting some of it in someone else's hands can be very appealing, while others would argue for more accountability. Regardless of an individual's decision on how to pursue sobriety, for most people struggling with substance abuse, pushing forward with their own willpower alone is really not the answer. Some people can find purpose in their spirituality, and many seek the support of sponsors or other friends to help keep them honest and help them when they relapse. Whatever path an individual takes, the key is acknowledging the issue, which is exactly what Pam is doing here. Where many who suffer from substance abuse struggle, Pam, is in the follow-through. You might expect that Pam has a change of heart after her 9 heart scene, like Shane switching to Joja Cola, for example. It's understandable for people to struggle with tough decisions like this, but Pam never makes a single change after acknowledging her issue. Again, I chalk this up more to the limits of non-marriageable candidates being less fleshed out, but it's still interesting. If you have a friend tell you they were worried about their drinking, but they spent that very night at the saloon calling for round after round of beer, and then spent the next morning complaining about their hangover, you might have a hard time finding them very sincere. Unfortunately, Pam is just never going to change, but let's wind it back and think about what might have caused this kind of spiral. We know that Pam was the bus driver prior to the farmer's arrival in Pelican Town. The bus has apparently broken down at some point, though it's funny that you walk right off an apparently working bus in the exact same spot right at the beginning of the game. Penny tells you that the bus stopped working a few years ago, Pam tells you she was laid off, and Lewis tells you that the bus was dormant for decades before you fixed it. So yeah, lots of info here, and some of it seems to conflict. But I'm about to make the hottest take this channel has ever seen, maybe, I'm actually not sure. I think the bus has worked the whole time. The only reason Pam hasn't been driving it is because it has an ignition interlock. For those of you out there who fortunately don't know what that means, this is essentially a breathalyzer for your car. If you can't blow a sober number into it, the car won't start. When you pay Morris to fix the bus, or you con the Junimos into repairing it, you're not fixing a broken vehicle. You're performing under-the-counter work to remove a court-mandated piece of equipment installed to keep Pam from driving drunk and killing someone. Again. In my video on the Wizard, I built on the theory that Mona was a member of an adventuring group with the Wizard, Linus, and Marlin. Today, I want to consider a different possibility for the individual in that grave. I think that perhaps Mona was just another person, perhaps one of the former owners of the building where Pierre's General Store now resides. Today, I'm going to suggest that Mona died in a drunk driving collision on the way out of Pelican Town. Obviously, if Pam were driving drunk and there were a collision with a loss of life, Pam would have to lose her job, right? How she doesn't go to jail in this situation is the harder question to answer, though Lewis does have the ear of the governor. Perhaps he used some of his political clout to get her a commuted sentence with some heavy fines and restrictions, some huge payments to the family that would put Pam in a trailer, for example. Not really sure. Either way, I'm not sure if she could have handled these kinds of things without cracking to start with, but I think this is where things continued to kind of pile on for her. Penny has a line of dialogue at 6 Hearts that only triggers in the fall, where she tells you that her father left her and Pam behind because he felt trapped. I think that happened shortly after the accident that killed Mona. Now, Pam was all alone in the world except for Penny, the perfect punching bag to blame and dump all her troubles on, and she's also all alone in her house with nothing but time and alcohol. Again, I'm not here to make comments on anyone else's situation, but I do personally know people who started to drink, unfortunately, quite a bit more heavily after a DUI than they did prior to getting it. So now Pam is really in trouble. She's got a serious drinking problem and a ton of guilt to work through, but at least she's completed her home confinement and her sentence is served. She's ready to start working again. So she heads to the bus on a Monday morning, sits down in the driver's seat, and she can't turn the engine over. She's too intoxicated. She shambles her way across town and into Lewis's entry. Lou, bus don't work. Gonna need something like $40K to get it rolling again. I'll be at the bar. And then she leaves, and that's exactly where she goes. And what's Lewis gonna do? Drive it himself? He's too busy gardening, staring at the calendar, having clandestine meetings with local business owners to worry about people leaving the valley. I guess we're all stuck here for a while. Nothing ever seems to change around these parts anyway. What do you think? Did Pam commit vehicular manslaughter? Is Lewis hiding a killer in our midst? Have I once again gone way, way, way too far? Let me know down in the comments, and keep an eye out for a poll for the next one. For now, I hope you guys found this video interesting, if not necessarily fun, and I'll hope to see you in the next one.